and never met him. Just knew him as Brandon General Hospital. And so yeah, they're a very loyal fan base, and that's a very long-standing show and has a lot of long-standing actors and actresses on there.
So tell me what happened the night he was killed.
He was bartending, and they had to do a deep clean that night. They don't always do that, so he got off a little later than normal, and two bar backs, and he and Anita Joy were walking to their cars, and the parking they were promised was never provided, and so they had to park on the streets. And so they didn't know where each other had parked, they just showed up at work, and so they all walked in tandem together because of the area they had to park. They got to the corner, I think, of Pico, and the two bar backs said, well, we're this way. And Anita and Johnny pointed and said, oh, we're right down here. And they didn't know it, both of them had parked right beside each other. The nose of her car was at the back of his. And they were walking down the sidewalk. If this is a street, and the big sidewalk is here, and this is Hope Street. And they were laughing and talking and just going to their car. And he saw some guys at their car. The street lamp is burned out, has been that I found burned out for weeks. And so it was very dark. And the people, I think, were in dark clothing as well. And the car was dark. And so he noticed them, he thought he was being towed. In Charleston, they boot your car and come back and tow you. And so they were down at his wheel, and he thought that's what they were doing. And he told Anita, he goes, I got this, and he asked him, you're towing my car. And when the guy looked up and had a mask on, he immediately stepped back in front of Anita and put his hands down and out. And the guy shot him point blank in the heart.
He didn't get a chance to say anything?
No. Anita, she heard a pop, and he fell back against her with all his force. And she's like, hi, are you okay? And he said, nope, shot. Those were his last words. And then she said he fought to, she was screaming, and then the security guard who parked, I guess, I don't know, maybe a block away, heard the shot and the scream and came running. Called 911, they put him on hold. Hold on. 911, put him on hold. Oh yeah. Put him on hold. How long? I don't know. I think it was, I don't know, maybe they came back within a few seconds. I have not heard the call.
That could be an eternity within line.
Yeah. And the hospital, I think, is not far away. And so there was an ambulance and police car right around the corner because they were at the hospital. And the hospital wasn't far. And so within a couple minutes, the ambulance arrived, and Brian had been working on him, the security guard, trying to save him. Wrapped his jacket around him, was, working on him. But Anita told me when the ambulance got there, his lips had gone pale. And he had struggled and tried to, stay with him by taking his breaths. And the ambulance got there and continued working on him, but he died there. That's where he died.
When you're in the thick of a project, Harbor Freight is the place that always comes in handy. Whether you're picking up something for your pickup truck or a power tool for your project, at Harbor Freight, your dollar always goes further. And these days, when everything seems to cost more, you can take pride in knowing that you get hard-working tools at hard-working prices. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
I really feel, and they sped away, I feel that if there had been police going around, every few minutes, like they are in some of your other cities around here, they would have run smack dab into a policeman, or maybe that would have been more of a deterrent. Better cameras, something. Just no deterrent.
There was no reason to shoot your son.
No.
Not that there should ever be a reason.
I mean, and I said this today at the press conference, some of the media said confronted, and I don't like that word because it implies confrontation. He didn't do that. I mean, I guess I maybe could understand more if he grabbed him and the guy shot him, but it was nothing like that. He was not being confrontational. He, was thinking they were towing his car and was letting him know, it's kind of, I guess, like, I'm here, this is my car, which is in Charleston. If they put the boot on, you're going to pay to get it off. But if they haven't put it on and you show up, then you don't have to pay.
Because it's been described as if your son tried to stop the thieves from taking his catalytic converter.
And he did not. He did not do that. He stepped back into the side in front of Anita and hands down and out. And so there was no threat.
How did you receive the news?
It was 3 a.m. here, so that would be 6 a.m. our time. So I was in the shower. My great niece was graduating. I was taking my mom to her graduation, which I did that day. And then when I came home, I needed to cut grass, so I was on the riding lawnmower. And it was probably about 1 o'clock. And then a few minutes later, it was media that first alerted me and wanted to know what comments I had I seen this. And then Micah Parker had also texted me and said, you need to turn on your phone. And that's how I found out. I wish they'd give me just 2 minutes heads up, hey, we're releasing this. But, not that I guess it would do anything one way or the other, but they didn't feel a need to share that with me, I guess.
I think you have a right to know what's going on in an investigation. I think you have a right to be given a heads up and to be briefed on what's happening with your son's murder case.
I would like to say yes, but they're only going to tell you so much. From what they tell me when I do ask questions, they're very polite, don't get me wrong, and I do believe that they are working hard. And I support the police, but they're not going to tell me anything. If anything's leaked, then it blows whatever lead, I guess, that they have, and that's what they constantly reiterate, constantly tell me. They do say, we're going to get it. We're working hard. We've got X amount of people working on it. And I have no choice but to believe them. I don't know how else to find anything else out.
So when you look at that photograph, what do you read into that? Anything?